The disastrous lighthouse experiment. President Grover Cleveland originally designated the monument to be managed by the United States Lighthouse Board, intending for the torch to serve a practical purpose as a navigational beacon for ships entering the harbor. Engineers spent months installing an experimental electrical plant on the island and cutting windows into the copper flame so that powerful electric lights could shine out across the water. The experiment, however, was a complete and utter failure, as the light produced was far too dim to guide ships effectively through the thick New York fog. But it was just bright enough to completely blind and disorient thousands of migrating birds. Every single autumn, waves of birds would fly directly into the burning hot glass and heavy copper structure, causing hundreds of dead birds to rain down onto the island every single morning, until the lighthouse operation was permanently shut down in disgust. The severe structural failure. The internal engineering of the monument suffered from a major structural defect that quietly threatened to collapse the entire statue from the inside out for nearly a century. Alexandre Gustave Eiffel, the brilliant engineer who designed the inner skeleton before building his famous tower in Paris, used an ingenious system of iron bars to support the outer copper skin. However, he failed to account for a basic chemical phenomenon called galvanic corrosion, which occurs when copper and iron touch each other in the presence of wet, salty air. This oversight caused the iron framework to rust away into a crumbling powder, expanding in size and literally ripping the copper rivets out of the statue's skin. By the mid-1980s, the internal damage was so catastrophic that the monument had to be completely closed to the public for years, while teams of engineers painstakingly replaced the entire corroded iron skeleton with high-grade stainless steel. The asymmetrical arm defect. During the hurried final assembly of the statue on Bedloes Island, an incredibly careless construction mistake was made that went completely unnoticed for nearly 100 years. The heavy iron framework supporting the right arm, which holds the massive torch high in the air, was accidentally bolted into place about 2 feet out of alignment from Bartholdi's original artistic blueprints. This slight asymmetry shifted the weight distribution of the entire upper body, placing immense unintended structural stress on the delicate shoulder joint every time strong Atlantic winds swept through the harbor. Over the decades, the iron bars inside the shoulder began to warp and bend under the strain, forcing modern restoration teams to install heavy, ugly structural reinforcement beams inside the gown, just to prevent the iconic torch arm from snapping off entirely and crashing into the pedestal below. The Black Tom explosion. During the height of World War I, the monument became an unwitting target in one of the largest acts of foreign sabotage ever committed on American soil. German secret agents infiltrated the nearby Black Tom Railroad Yard in Jersey City, where millions of pounds of military ammunition and explosives were being stored before being shipped to Allied forces in Europe. The resulting midnight explosion was so massive that it registered as a major earthquake, shattering windows across Manhattan, sending shrapnel tearing through the statue's copper robes and popping the rivets out of the arm. The shockwave caused severe structural damage to the delicate internal ladder leading up to the torch, forcing the government to close the torch to the public forever out of fear that the entire arm was no longer safe to support human weight. The suicide and death records. While the monument is universally celebrated as a beacon of hope and new beginnings, its towering height has unfortunately attracted a dark history of human tragedy and despair. Over the last century, numerous individuals have successfully evaded park security to leap from the high observation decks or the top of the pedestal, plunging to their deaths on the stone fort below. Others have suffered fatal heart attacks or heat stroke while attempting to climb the claustrophobic, suffocatingly hot spiral staircase inside the hollow copper body during the peak of humid New York summers. These tragic incidents forced the National Park Service to install heavy steel mesh cages around all open walkways, post permanent security guards at the crown, and strictly limit the number of visitors allowed to make the grueling physical climb to the top each day. The Suicide Pact plots. Beyond individual tragedies, the iconic status of the monument has made it a prime target for extremist political groups seeking to make a dramatic global statement. In the mid-20th century, the FBI successfully uncovered a highly organized plot by a radical group that planned to smuggle dynamite onto the island and detonate it inside the base, aiming to completely topple the statue into the harbor as a protest against the government. This terrifying discovery completely transformed the way the island operates, shifting it from an open public park into a highly secured zone. Today, every single visitor must pass through airport-style security screenings, undergo full body scans, and have their bags X-rayed before they are even allowed to step onto the ferry boats, making it one of the most heavily guarded pieces of real estate in the country.